This is a Citroen Ami, and it's a bit like a 17-year-old Jaguar S-Type V8. Now bear with me, you see I know that the Ami is a little electric car, which if you're in France you can drive from the age of 14, but just like that old Jaguar, they both cost around £5,500. See? It's the same. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to review the little Ami, and to do that, I'm going to talk you around the exterior, the interior. I'm going to take it for a drive. I'm going to launch it from 0 to some miles an hour, and I'm going to do a brake test and try to drift it. Now, if you want to see some more strange car reviews, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way you won't miss a single upload. Anyway, I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. Right, let's start off this video review by talking about the design of the Ami. Here at what I think is the back, because it looks a bit like the front. In fact, the whole car looks a bit like a child's toy. It seems to be built from similar flimsy material as a child's toy as well. It's also like you can just move it by leaning on it. Anyway, let's move on to the wheels. 14 inches in diameter. Though they are steel wheels with some plastic trims over the top. Not sure about that reflector, it's just been stuck on. Though I like this bit, look, an air bump, like you get on Citroen's bigger, proper cars. Now, check out this door. Look, it opens backwards like an old Fiat 500, and in fact, you got some retro-style little circular door mirrors. Moving to the front, at least I think it is the front. Yes, it is, because the lights are clear here, whereas at the back, they're red for the brake lights. But the body panel is identical. Reason is that allows Citroen to save money on building this car because it doesn't have to design a different front and a different back. It also makes it cheaper to insure because the parts just cost less, so you can just whack on a front onto the back and the back onto the front. Just change the lights. Get it? Also, it's a mirror image left to right, because if you come around here, you'll see this door actually opens that way because it's flipped. Funny, funny little thing. What do you reckon to the look of the Citroen Ami? Do you like it? Can you drive something like this? Wouldn't you want to be seen dead in it? It's nuts, look at it still going. Now let's talk about performance, because obviously that isn't what the Ami is about at all. Anyhow, you've got an 8 horsepower electric motor, drives the front wheels via a single speed gearbox. You've also got a 5.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, which you can charge from empty to full using a normal 3-pin socket in just 3 hours. And that'll give you a range of 45 miles. But what you want to know is how quick this thing is. Well, let's launch it and time it from 0 to 25 miles an hour. I should put the handbrake on, really. Okay, let's see how quick this little Citroen Ami is over the 1/8 of a mile and the 1/4 mile. To do that, I've got my specialist timing gear here. Here we go. I think this launch is going to be brutal. Let's do this. It wasn't. So 0 to 25 miles an hour is 7.38 seconds. I think we've hit a limiter at 27.8 miles an hour. Come on, where's the 1/8 of a mile? 1/8 of a mile in 19.33 seconds. Bear with me while we complete the standing 1/4 mile. Don't click out the video. Almost there. Oh my god, this thing did a 1/4 of a mile in just 35.53 seconds. That is a record for the slowest car I've ever launched on Car Wow. To see the quickest car I've ever launched on Car Wow, click on the pop-out banner up there to watch my in-depth video review of the Rimac Nevera. That was boring. With such incredible performance, you're going to need some pretty beefy brakes, and that's exactly what the Ami hasn't got. At the front, you've got disc brakes at least, and they fit inside these 14-inch wheels with a few inches to spare either side, so they're probably about 10 inches in diameter. At the back, you've got drum brakes. Let's do a brake test from, well, whatever the top speed is. Now I'm going to do a brake test from 25 miles an hour, also known as 45 kilometers an hour, and see how long it takes this little Ami to stop. I wonder if it has ABS. That'll be a no. Tyres. Oh, stop from 25 miles an hour in 7 meters. Oh, it's not too bad. Bravo, mon ami. Sorry, French people. Now let's talk about this car's incredible chassis. So it's made out of a steel box section. Also, you've got McPherson strut suspension at the front, trailing arm at the rear. The rear suspension is actually fully independent. And it looks like there's coilovers as well, springs and dampers. That rear suspension is actually more sophisticated than that on a normal Citroen C4, because that has a simple torsion beam rear suspension. I think we better put this car's handling to the test right now. Time to assess the dynamic capabilities of this little Citroen Ami. It's French. French are famous for doing brilliant hot hatches. No, it's not a hatchback, but it's French. It's half of it right. I'm going up a hill. You're losing a bit of speed. I'm going to chuck it into this corner and lift off the accelerator, see if I can get some lift off oversteer while going over these bumps. Oh my god. Yeah, you feel the bumps. Yeah, you feel the bumps. Oh. It's a white knuckle ride. Imagine being 14 and French and just getting to hoon this thing around. I wish I hadn't slowed down, because you want to keep your momentum up in this thing. Judge where the hills are, because you need to make the most of the decline so you can get up the inclines, otherwise you may as well be walking. Here we go. Here comes the decline. Let the fun recommence. Oh, it automatically starts to brake. I was hoping that when you're going down a hill you could just roll and go faster, but no, it automatically limits your top speed, and it will use motor braking to slow you down if you start to go down a steep incline, so you can never go faster than that limited top speed. I guess this car isn't about, hooning it round a twisty road. It's just for people to get from A to B very cheaply, and when they're too young to drive a proper car. Now let's look a bit in depth at the interior of the Ami. So because you've got all this glass, it's a little bit like you're in a greenhouse, which isn't great on a hot day like today, because I'm absolutely sweating buckets and there's no air conditioning. All you've got is a fan, which makes quite a racket but actually doesn't blow that hard. I suppose you can open a window, but look how the window opens. Look, it's like an old 2CV. So you can get a bit sweaty in here. There are a few things I do like though, like these practical additions on the dash. So there's a cup holder there, look. There's a little cubby just here which is full of dead insects. This area here for pens. This. Oh, and look, you can hang a bag off there. Door bins are massive though, absolutely huge. The seats aren't too uncomfortable either, considering there's not much to them. Now you can't move the passenger seat at all, and you can't recline the driver's seat, but you can move it forwards and backwards. We've got some tech in here. Look, there's a place for your mobile phone. Yes, you have to bring your own tech actually. Look, will it fit? It kind of fits my silly big Samsung Fold. Yeah, sort of fits. Speaking of which, there's space for a Bluetooth speaker there, because there's no stereo in this car. There is a USB input there for charging your mobile phone. And looky here, a digital driver's display, though the display I think was actually made back in the 1990s. Looks very blocky, like an old digital watch. Check this out though. A car like this should have an appropriate sounding horn. That is the right horn for a car like this. There's fabric door pulls, like in a Porsche 911 GT3. In terms of putting the car in gear, there's nothing up here. Your gear selector's down here. You've got drive, neutral and reverse. Select whatever you want. Use the accelerator and off you go. Tell you what though, this steering wheel, it's the ugliest steering wheel I've seen in any car. Look at it. And there's certainly no airbag in this. In fact, because this isn't actually a proper car, it's a quadricycle, it doesn't have to reach the same kind of safety standards. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the Citroen Ami. The orange storage solutions on the dash really reflect badly in the windscreen. It's quite annoying, isn't it? There's no ratchet mechanism in the door hinge, so it constantly swings open or shut depending on which way the slope you're parked on is going. There's only one windscreen wiper, so while it will clear water from the driver's side, in torrential rain, it never actually clears from the passenger side. So if you're the passenger, you don't get a great view looking forward. There is no central locking on this car. You have to use a key. Look. Oh, actually, that's the wrong key. You see, you have one key for the door and one key for the ignition. It's like being back in the 1980s. The AMI doesn't have a rear view mirror, and because the side mirrors are rather small, if you really want to see behind you have to just turn around and look over your shoulder. A little bit like if you're on a motorbike. It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car. You know how in most electric cars you carry the charging cable in a bag in the boot and it eats into your luggage space? Well, there's actually a little space for the charging cable in the AMI. Get it from out of there, plug it into the wall, and you just put the cable back in there when you're done. The Citroën AMI has a turning circle of just 7.2 metres. By comparison, the turning circle of a London black cab is 7.6 metres. As a result, this AMI is super manoeuvrable, and if you want to, you can use it as a little merry-go-round. You might think that in such a small little box as this, there'd be no room to store luggage. Not true. See that sign down there? It's because that area is dedicated to be able to hold a suitcase. Stay, and it can. In France, which is the only place the AMI is sold at the moment, not only can you drive it from the age of 14, you can actually hire one for 25p per minute. Now, by comparison, a Lime bike is 15p per minute, but obviously the AMI can seat 2, so 2 Lime bikes will be 30p a minute. So this is cheaper to rent per person than a Lime bike, and obviously if it's raining, it's much more pleasurable to use to get from A to B. Check it out, a manual handbrake, which is perfect if you're a French teenager who wants to be the next Sebastian Loeb, because it means, oh yeah, plenty of handbrake turn practice. Do you know what? I haven't actually tested this car in the environment that it's designed for, so now I am going to drive it in town. Now, the speed limit's not such an issue. 28 mile an hour top speed, 30 mile an hour legal limit in a UK town, and in places in London it's 20, so more than enough. Do you know what? I fancy a quick drinky. I don't know if I can pop in here. People are looking at me like I'm driving something a bit odd. Hello? Do you like my car? I don't think he does like it anyway. Let's get out of here. Let's say it handles a roundabout. Right, which way do I want to go? No, not this way. Oh, look at this tight turning circle. Whee! Right, that's enough of that. Don't want to get squished by the truck. Where to next? It's going to be interesting to see what it's like fitting into a parking space. So there's a little shopping area there. Let's go in here. Should be easy to squeeze it into a slot. Ooh, speed bumps are a bit interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be simple. Look. Hey! Easy peasy. Now, I wonder, reversing out should be easy. In fact, that gives me an idea. Hey! I mean, it's so short, this car, that you can actually drive it like this. Whee! People probably aren't aware that I am going backwards because the back is the same as the front. This is perfectly normal, people. Nothing to see here. This is so ridiculous. Whee! Right, I've had enough of going backwards. Let's go forwards again. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right, I think I'm done with the AMI. I'll just find somewhere to park it, and maybe this is the ideal place. Yeah, that's perfect. That'll do. Just leave it in here. I wonder if I can get out. Yeah, just about. So then, what's my final verdict on the Citroen Ami? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, if you're 14 years old and you live in France and you want an EV that's cheap, go right ahead and buy the Ami. For everyone else though, avoid it and just get a 17-year-old Jaguar S-Type V8 instead. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Also, let me know of any other videos you'd like me to do in the comments below. If you click there, you can watch some more videos.